This is Inside Indiana Business Radio on demand for Friday, August 22nd, 2025. I'm Gary Dick. Details are beginning to emerge on Nippon Steel's plans for Indiana after its $15 billion acquisition of U.S. Steel. Speaking at the Japan America Society of Indiana's annual gala, Nippon Steel North America CEO Hiroshi Ono said $3.1 billion will help transform the iconic Gary Works in Lake County.
These investments ensure that Gary Works will continue operating as a flagship mill of the U.S. Steel for years to come.
Indiana University and Carmel-based Merchants Bank have reached a $50 million sponsorship deal that will put the bank's name on Memorial Stadium's playing field for the next 2 decades. The 20-year naming rights agreement with IU Athletics and Learfield's IU Sports Properties will result in the Bloomington Stadium's playing surface immediately being renamed Merchants Bank Field at Memorial Stadium. Another Indiana city addressing a housing shortage in the state. Officials in Henry County have broken ground on Ashbury Fields, a $20 million housing development that is being supported by a grant from the state's Regional Economic Acceleration and Development Initiative, or READY. The Indiana Economic Development Corporation says the 65-home Newcastle development designed to meet workforce and market-rate housing needs in the community. From the state's #1 source for Indiana business news, you're listening to Inside Indiana Business Radio. East Central Indiana is on the move, and the next big conversation is happening in Muncie. Join us for Innovate East Central Indiana at Ball State University, September 17th. A powerful afternoon of ideas, innovation, and insight, part of the Innovate Indiana series, presented by Indiana University and Old National Bank. We're talking talent, technology, and transformation, and what's next for the region. RSVP now at ibj.com/innovate. Columbus Regional Health has announced that CEO Steve Baker is no longer with the organization, effective immediately. No word on the reason for the departure. Former Columbus Regional President and CEO Jim Bickle has returned from retirement and assumed the role of interim president and CEO. Hoosier employers want to work with students and adult learners seeking on-the-job training. That according to a recent survey, but few take advantage because they don't have the time, capacity, or funds.
The newly released results from a summertime survey conducted on behalf of the Indiana Fiscal Policy Institute included 348 employers across 62 counties and 17 industries. Both Ivy Tech Community College and the Indiana Chamber Research Foundation supported the study, which had both small employers with fewer than 50 employees and larger employers with over 1,000 employees. 85% of employers were families with youth and adult training opportunities, but just 67% had trained a youth employee compared to 73% for adults. Smaller employers were less likely to have attempted either type of work-based learning. And while liability concerns and logistics for youth played a factor, especially for those under the age of 18, the top barrier to participation was staff capacity. For those that could support such work-based learning, most employers reported a capacity to serve between 1 to 5 students or trainees per year. The 26-page report concluded with 8 policy considerations, including targeting funding and technical assistance for small and mid-sized businesses, creating or expanding intermediary organizations, and identifying training models such as remote or project-based learning and job shadowing. Alex Brown, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Central Indiana's largest privately owned Medicare broker has a new home. Independent Senior Insurance will today christen its new headquarters in Carmel, following a $1.2 million renovation of an existing building on East 146th Street. It also represents the company's first expansion into Hamilton County. This is Gary Dick for Inside Indiana Business Radio on demand. Get a behind-the-scenes look at Indiana's most influential leaders. On Business and Beyond, we go beyond titles and resumes to explore the personal stories, pivotal moments, and hard-won lessons that shape Hoosier leadership. Hear from the people driving Indiana forward in their own words. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcast or at ibjpodcasts.com.
Your commute just got smarter. Turn drive time into growth time. The IBJ Media Podcast Network gives you front row access to leaders shaping Indiana's economy, culture, and future. No filler, just smart, relevant, local storytelling you won't get anywhere else. Find all of our shows by searching IBJ Media in your podcast app or visit ibjpodcasts.com.